Flopsy and the Easter Bunny Olympics, part 32 of 40. As we drew near the end of our third elimination round, only 2 burdened endurance races were left to complete in the February Easter Bunny Games. Blind chance dictated that we had a 50% likelihood of running the 1,000 meter this round and the 1,500 next, but I hedged my bet based on previous experience. Every 3-event round I'd already completed had combined a longer run with a shorter. Based on this, I felt strongly that our final round 3 run would be the 1,000 meter rather than the longer 1,500, and this proved correct. Completing our short march from the broad jump to the 1,000 meter burdened endurance race welcoming area, I was surprised by the lead official who greeted Cedrinum. The official surprised me in 2 ways, and one of those 2 ways embarrassed me a bit. I felt embarrassed because my surprise was caused by the race official's black fur. Having met 14 other lead race officials, 14 other brown-furred lead race officials, I'd come to expect all race officials to be brown. And when this one wasn't, I was surprised. And my surprise, shock really, embarrassed me. Being even a tiny bit shocked embarrassed me because I'd certainly shocked many bunnies when they saw my white fur. His black fur took me by surprise for no reason except for his being different. But the second surprise followed immediately upon our arrival, mostly swept away my embarrassment and replaced it with curiosity. The race official nodded to Cedrinum before we'd even come to parade rest, and as my squad came to a stop, he was already twisting his head in invitation for Cedrinum to step away from his squad and speak nuzzle to allow them to have a private conversation. Standing with faces millimeters apart, Cedrinum and the black bunny whispered in one another's ears. The other bunny told Cedrinum something that caused him to inhale deeply and shake his head before nodding to the black bunny. The other bunny nodded in our direction, and Cedrinum spoke to us. "Sorry to keep you waiting," Cedrinum said, both his voice and demeanor again upbeat. "This is my old friend Jabu-Takaba, and he tells me we're running a bit late, if you'll forgive the pun. In the interest of keeping the games going, we'll dispense with the pleasantries and follow Jabu to the 1,000 meter burdened endurance for your final event in round number 3, the 4-lap 1,000 meter burdened endurance. Jabu?" "Thank you," Jabu-Takaba said, his voice resonating with a Caribbean accent. "Thank you and welcome. Your double baskets of single burden to weight, and I will lead you to your pain, knowing the effort's well worth the game. Come," he added as he went ahead of our formation, then led us to the track where we once again lined up in our ROYGBV order. The round 3 had reduced the number of bunnies in our squad to a bit more than half our round 1 tally of 120 bunnies. We 68 rabbits were again divided into 6 color-coded groups, with each group consisting of either 12 or 11 bunnies. 68 bunnies would compete one last time before our ranks shrank once again. The 6 queues of rainbow-colored basket-burdened bunnies primed and ready to race were smaller in number as well as in energy. The winnowing of bunnies from round 1 to round 3 once again caused some redistribution in which of the ROYGBV heats we lined up, and my race number moved me from yellow up to orange for our third competition, while packs remained in yellow. Looking around, I counted how many fellow orange basket rabbits would take off running when the starter hollered, "Go!" 11, I whispered to myself, watching the red basket bunnies ahead of us take off and head down the oval's first straightaway. As they ran, I tried but failed to catch a view of where Bustle was before my attention returned to the task at paw. As Red sped down the track, we orange baskets slid forward, soon went on "Go!" and immediately strung out as we tired, poor, huddled bunnies, yearning to breathe free, raced onward, our spirits high, though our bodies sagged wretchedly. I sped forward with the knowledge that my broad jump had been subpar and therefore had not provided me with any kind of buffer. The knowledge of my vulnerability fueled my refusal to yield to the temptation of achieving a high, but by no means my greatest effort, and I dug deep from the very beginning of our first of 4 burdened laps and did my best to maintain that hard effort through to the very end. I raced hard, and based on the number of bunnies who I passed, I felt confident that I was doing well. Racing hard, I was also searching for the level of effort where I was working my hardest that didn't overstep and bring on my oxygen-deprived tunnel vision. I'd just begun my 4th and final lap when I saw a blue basket-burdened woundwort up ahead. "Hard, not blindingly hard," I mumbled to myself, keeping my eyes on woundwort and increasing my level till the tiniest circle of black crowded my outermost peripheral vision. Reaching the final lap's first curve, I swung wide in anticipation of pouring on speed from the far right of the track, a position that would increase the distance of my lap, which was bad, but also distance me from Woundwort, which I figured was wiser than passing him in close quarters. Completing the arc and starting down the long final straightaway, Pax's familiar voice hollered, "What you doing? Race here!" His sentence coming out one word at a time, just as he became visible in my peripheral vision. "Stay, way, wound, wart," I replied in the same breathless fashion. "Stay, way, no, race, race, now," Pax wheezed in my ear as he pulled next to me. Pax's respectful challenge reminded me that I owed it to the games to give my all to each and every one of today's contests. Even as his prompt disappeared in the air, I inhaled, replied, "Race now," and took off as hard as I was capable of for the final 70 or so meters remaining. Suffering as I raced the final distance, my excruciating effort again brought back my tunnel vision, but knowing I was giving my all returned me to a triumphant, oxygen-deprived, exultant place, a place where I managed to step around Woundwort as I hopped far faster than he was, and even managed to cross the finish line ahead of Pax, who had started behind me.